To illustrate, let me tell you about my dad. As a songwriter, one of the best songs I've ever written was about my dad. He used to get a lot of radio play. It was called Special Man. Lyrical hook, any male can be a father, but it takes a special man to be a dad. That's my dad. My dad battled cancer for 6.5 years. I wanted to be by his bedside when he took his last breath. That didn't happen for me. I was up in the northwestern United States, Seattle, Washington. I was in town for 2 days to make 2 speeches to 2 large trade associations downtown at the convention center. I'm staying out of town at the Seattle Airport Marriott Hotel. It's Friday morning, October 12th. I've showered, I've shaved, put on my coat, put on my tie. I'm ready for the day. Phone rings. I think it's my ride downtown to the convention center, so I pick up the phone and I almost flippantly say, I'll be right there. But for some odd reason, I just stood there. About 15 seconds of silence later, my younger brother's voice pierces the quietness of the call. Danny? I said, what's up? He said, Dad passed away this morning at 7 a.m. I said, whoa. Sat down on the edge of my bed, and the tears just started to fall. Let me interrupt. I'd give anything to have my dad back just one more day. It's too late. I have regrets. I don't wish regrets on any of you. As an author, I love to interview people. My favorite interview was always with an elderly person. Elderly meaning someone older than me. They will always remind us they do not have regrets for things they did do. They only have regrets for things they did not do. Will you? Will you die with your music still in you? Will you die saying, I wish I shoulda, coulda, woulda, taken a chance? I hope not. What a way to live and a worse way to go. I said to my brother Paul, how's Mom? He said, she's all right. I said, give her a big hug and a kiss for me, will you please? Tell her I'll phone her as quickly as I can. And then he asks me the gajillion-dollar question. What are you going to do? What he's really saying is, you're a professional speaker. What are you willing to do that no one else is willing to do? I said, Paul, Mom and Dad have spent an entire lifetime teaching us to keep our promises. I said, I can't imagine what it would be like to be a meeting planner with a 90-minute slot to fill, 3,500 people in the audience, and not have the speaker show. I can't leave people hanging. Dad would want me to go and make my speech. He would want me to keep my promise. I said, Paul, Mom and Dad have spent an entire lifetime teaching us that pressure is not something that's naturally there. It's created when you question your own ability. When you know what you can do, there's no pressure. Mom and Dad have spent an entire lifetime teaching us that crisis does not make or break the man or woman. It just reveals the true character within. I said, Paul, I'm going to go speak. That's what Dad would want me to do. And I'm going to go fire these people up like you have never heard. To never take life for granted. To never take our freedom and our opportunities for granted. How dare us not take advantage of this opportunity and share the opportunity with everyone we care about. I hung up the phone with my brother. And I sat there in my hotel room and I openly wept like a wee child. This is my dad, my legitimate hero, gone. It's going to happen to all of us. I don't know about you, but I'm going to write every song I was born to write. And I ain't dying with my music still in me. 15 minutes later, the phone rings again. This time it is my ride. I tell him I'll be right down. I go into the washroom. I splash some water on my face, try to freshen up to the best of my ability. I leave my hotel room and I get on the elevator. As the elevator doors start to close, the corner of the bellman's cart nudges its way through the opening and they bing back open. And on the elevator comes this way overzealous psycho bellman. I'll never forget him as long as I live. Woo-hoo! He's pushing his runaway cart onto the elevator, forces me back to the right rear corner of the elevator, and I assume the elevator position. Doors close, we start going down. He is relentless. Wow! Did you see the beautiful sunshine? He said, I've lived up here in Seattle, Washington, 15 years, rained every single day. You must have brought the good weather with you. How you doing? I said, I'm fine. You know when someone's been staring at you for a while and you don't even have to get eye contact, you can just kind of feel it, kind of sense it. All of a sudden he says, hey, mister, you're not fine. You've been crying. I said, yeah. I said, I just found out my dad died this morning and I'm really sad. He said, whoa. Elevator comes to the lobby, the doors open, he goes his way. I meet my ride. He drives me downtown to the convention center. I'm introduced, and I make my speech. I dug deeper than I'd ever dug in my whole entire life to make that speech. What's the message? You can if you think you can. Got to the end of my speech, said to the audience, you know, I'd like to conclude with a little song from one of my albums. And I said, the reason why I want to sing this little song is because my dad died this morning, and it's the first time he's ever heard me sing it in public. And again, I dug deeper than I'd ever dug and just maybe sang the song better than I'd ever sung it. I concluded my speech, and I had the driver taken to the Seattle Aquarium. Am I now a hypocrite? Did I not honor our troops for running towards the sound of the guns? Did I not put this concept of change, uncontrollable change, to rest once and for all and say, let's proactively stretch, let's face the music? Hopefully you don't think I'm a hypocrite, because the reason why I had the driver take me to the Seattle Aquarium is for the exact same reason you are here at this international convention. I had the driver take me to the Seattle Aquarium to create a meeting, to get away from the distractions of family and the deadlines of work, where I could ask better questions and come up with better answers and realize that knowledge is power, but knowledge has no heart. Reason leads to conclusions, but it is emotion that leads to action. All the information in the world is going to make a person successful. It's like the guy who has 3 PhDs. One in philosophy, one in psychology, one in sociology. He doesn't have a job, but at least he can explain why. Let's talk. So I'm watching the fish swim. I'm watching the otters float on their backs. They reminded me of some of the offensive linemen I used to play football with. And that day I coined a phrase that's been a pillar of strength for me in times of trouble since. Pain is a signal to grow, not to suffer. Once we learn the lesson the pain teaches us, the pain goes away. May I repeat that? Pain is a signal to grow, not to suffer. Once we learn the lesson the pain teaches us, the pain goes away. So in life, there's no mistakes, only lessons. We've gone full circle, ladies and gentlemen. No matter what our past has been, we have a spotless future. One moment in time changes everything. Once we get our attitude right, our abilities will always catch up. And the question on the table right now as we conclude, what are you willing to do that no one else is willing to do, is determined 100% in the 6 inches between your ears. You can, if you think you can, dream a mighty dream. You can, if you think you can, committing to understanding yourself, understanding time, understanding trust and relationships, understanding product knowledge, understanding opportunity, understanding each other. And in that capacity, we now can achieve and rise to the occasion and do something that no one else is willing to do. How do I know that? I have the driver take me from the Seattle Aquarium back to the Seattle Airport and Marriott Hotel. And here's where you come into my story. Here's where you either accept or reject my challenge for you to be that flight attendant who doesn't think outside the lines, who doesn't think outside the box, who understands the answers are already inside of us. All we have to do is hang around with the right people who will trigger more passion, creativity, and imagination and inspire us to be hit songwriters every day of our lives. With the understanding as a songwriter that no matter how many hits you've had, no matter how many successful meetings you've had, no matter how many people you have in your downline at the present moment, today is a brand new day to write another hit song, have another amazing meeting, and spread the word to everybody else who deserves to know what you know about dreams, about commitment, and about achieving everything that's possible that you were born to be. I get back into my hotel room, and there on the dresser of drawers is a basket of fruit. And it's not your basic basket of fruit that's been delivered from the hotel gift shop. We've all seen these. Little color cellophane, little bow, little sterile stamp card. They never get our names right. Thanks for staying with us, Sergio. This was the coolest gift I'd ever received. It was a broken, smushed basket. One side was caved in. It looked like it was someone's second thought, maybe after hours, no resources available, but they still wanted to make a difference. Can any of you relate? I can see this hotel employee walking through the lobby. They look in the garbage bin. They're like, oh, wow, that's too good to throw away. Wow. Winter Holler will be really proud of us. Do more with less. They retrieved it, took it to my room. Apparently they were into presentation because they turned the broken, smooshed part of the basket towards the wall. Apparently they'd walked past the big fake tree in the lobby, yanked off one of those fine rubberized leaves, stuck this big plastic leaf in front of the broken, smooshed part of my basket. In my basket of fruit, there was a tomato, big, giant carrot, and a handwritten card that said, Mr. Clark, I'm sure sorry your dad died. I'm supposed to get off work at 5 o'clock. I've asked to stay on all night long so I can be here just for you. Room service closes at 10 o'clock. The kitchen has agreed to stay open all night long so they can be here just for you. If you need anything, just call and ask for me. Signed, James, the bellman in the elevator. He's not the only guy who signed my little card. Every single hotel employee that night at the Seattle Airport Marriott Hotel signed my little card. I still have it matted and framed, hanging on my office wall to this day. Let me debrief and conclude. Here we have the youngest person in the entire employee payroll who seemingly gets it. Gets what? Age has nothing to do with success. Can't pay enough for experience, but age has nothing to do with success. How do we now know that? Some of the greatest songs you will ever hear were written by young men and young women. Why? They have access to the same 12 notes that the old folks do. It's about passion, creativity, and imagination. And using your word, brah, love. Here we have the lowest paid person in the entire employee payroll. And we now know money is not the motivator. If I asked you, why are you here? Hopefully you will now be able to quote Max Lucado. We must be willing to pay any price and travel any distance to associate with extraordinary human beings. Maybe now you'll be able to quote Winston Churchill at the beginning of World War II. When the Nazis are bombing his beloved England and he's forced as a leader, as the brand new Prime Minister of England, he's forced into an underground bunker, and his responsibility is to fire his people up. Can you relate? To never say never. Can you relate? And what does he say? It is not enough to say, I will do my best. We must succeed at doing that which is necessary. Who's raising your bar, and how high is it, and how high can it go? And the last thing I learned from this young 18-year-old man, loyalty. We want to create loyal friends and folks in the downline who don't just give up after 30 days because it didn't work like they thought it would. Loyalty. As a speaker, I'm always relegated to stay at the property where they have the meeting. And I'm usually put in really nice hotels. For those of you who are out of town, I suppose you're staying someplace close by here, hey? Maybe this Marriott hotel next door. Good for you. I'm a huge fan of Marriott hotels, obviously. And most of the time when you go to a Marriott hotel, towels in our rooms are so fluffy we have a hard time getting our suitcases closed. Are you finding that? You finding that? Yeah. Yeah, but every single time I speak in Seattle, Washington, I always stay at Marriott Hotel. Even if I have to rent a car at my own expense and drive an hour and a half out of my way. Why? Because one young man who no longer works for Marriott connected me to that brand, that product, if you will, forever. Conclusion, I didn't teach you one thing. Answers are inside of us. Every one of us knows enough right now to leave here and take our lives and our businesses to the next level. But not alone with support. The 30-second close, a mother encourages her daughter to come home as soon as school is over. Time comes, time goes. 30 minutes late, her daughter walks in through the front door of her home and her mother scolds her. Where have you been? She says, oh, Mommy, I walked my friend Sally home. She dropped her doll on the sidewalk. It broke all to pieces. It was awful. Her mother said, so you're late because you stayed to help your friend pick up the pieces of the doll and put it back together again? She said, oh no, Mommy, I didn't know how to fix the doll. I just stayed to help her cry. God bless our troops. God bless America. And you have a great day.
That's a nice